CBS News has learned that the number of people caught illegally crossing the United States northern border is up 142%. Border Patrol agents apprehended 445 people entering the U.S. from Canada during the first 6 months of 2018. Now, that compares with 184 during the same period last year. Dahler traveled to Derby Line, Vermont, for an up-close look at security along the U.S.-Canadian border.
Good morning. These flower pots mark the northern border, which actually goes right through the Haskell Free Library and Opera House. I'm standing in Vermont. If I take a step that way, I'm in Quebec. As you can see, the border is very easy to cross here, which was actually the original intention. But it also makes it very difficult to secure. This unguarded metal fence is the only thing preventing criminal gangs, drug smugglers, and human traffickers from entering this remote corner of New York.
Does this represent the physical security infrastructure along the northern border?
This is a part of that, yes.
A gate with a lock?
Yes.
Norm Legg is the Border Patrol agent in charge here. He says it's impossible to cover the entire 5,525-mile-long U.S.-Canadian border, the longest and busiest land boundary in the world.
It's basically a big game of whack-a-mole.
It's a tough challenge to go ahead and take the limited resources we have and work in such a vast area.
Last year, Border Patrol agents along the northern border caught 3,027 people who were in the country illegally. Nearly half, 1,489, were from Mexico, which is on the southern border. Mexican citizens don't need a visa to enter Canada, and one-way flights to Toronto and Montreal only cost about $300. Once there, Border Patrol agents say they can slip into the U.S. A major city like New York is only 6 hours away.
The terrain is very difficult to work in, and we do not have the resources at our disposal that the southern border has.
Many official ports of entry, like this floating dock near Lake Champlain, are unmanned at night.
Champlain agents.
Sensors and patrols help fill in the security gaps.
There are thousands of sensors like this one deployed along the northern border that incorporate motion detection and cameras. When they sense someone coming across, the tricky part is getting a Border Patrol agent there in time enough to catch them. Sometimes entering the U.S. is as simple as crossing a 20-foot wide clearing in the woods or paddling across a lake, and you don't have to check in with anyone. I'm not seeing any markers on this lake.
It's pretty unmarked.
Porter Fox is author of Northland, a book about what he calls America's forgotten border.
It's generally agreed that the northern border is more vulnerable to a terrorist sneaking into this country. The only known terrorists to be apprehended coming overland into America came from the north. It was created as the world's friendliest border between two countries. There's a lot at stake up here in the north.
Many buildings and businesses literally straddle the northern border, and the illegal traffic goes both ways. Just last January, a Canadian man pled guilty to smuggling handguns through this library into Canada.
Gayle reporting there with a really fascinating story.
I think so, too. The border doesn't get friendlier if it's lined with flower pots.
No, exactly.